Aloha from Hawaii, where IAFOR is currently holding our annual conference on education, arts and humanities. Today is the parallel session of the conference, which means that delegates are presenting their own presentations. Next to me is standing Mike Menchaca, professor at the University of Hawaiʻi at Mānoa. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
He is one of the drivers of this conference. You are part of the conference program committee.
Correct.
How is that? How is the conference going?
Oh, the conference is going outstanding. I'm having a great time. We had wonderful turnout. We had very good turnout on the first session. We had a musician. We had a hula expert. This particular hula has been around for a very long time. We have them every year that we have the conference, and it's one of the highlights of the conference, both in terms of they give lessons both in music and hula, but then they also perform at the plenary session before we do all of the plenary sessions, so that's been really outstanding. This is my 10th year at this particular conference. It's been around for 11 years, so I only missed the first year, and it's one of my favorite conferences, and that's why I became more involved over time.
I had a delegate come up to me and say that the hula and the Hawaiian music and everything was excellent, but they have never seen that at another conference.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. I think that's one of the really things that IAFOR in particular does very well, is they leverage whatever the local community, local culture, but not only just like the popular tourist culture, but they also really endeavor to make sure that people learn about the history, the struggles, the issues that may exist within the culture that they're at, so that people have a deeper understanding. Because in Hawaii, it's very tourist driven, and people do enjoy and support tourists. At the same time, there's local people that you have to be aware of and understand that this is their home. We're kind of visitors here in their home, and there's a lot of interesting dynamics about that in Hawaii, and that's something that IAFOR really endeavors to make sure that people understand and see.
For a lot of the delegates that have come to this conference, it's their first time in Hawaii. What would you recommend them to see or visit?
Yes, that's a really excellent question, and obviously the beach is the number one, and if you're going to come to Hawaii, spend some time at the beach. There's a lot of different types of beaches depending on what people are interested. Popular ones like Waikiki, but then if you want to go see more of authentic Hawaii, then you should go to the North Shore, experience what the North Shore is. It's a little bit more Hawaii focused, less tourist focused, but things like the Arizona Memorial is a very, very powerful memorial and there's a lot of information at that, both from a Japanese perspective and an American perspective, and it's really very well balanced and moving in terms of understanding what happened at that time. And then in people that enjoy hiking, there's just tons of botanical gardens, there's hikes on the beach, there's hikes in areas where you can also go snorkeling, so there's really a lot to do. But make sure that you take time to learn the local history as well. The Bishop Museum is an outstanding place. I think it's probably under-visited. Maybe the last item on people's tourist lists for first-time visitors, but it's actually really an outstanding world-class museum. You learn a lot, not just about Hawaii, but the South Pacific and North Pacific in general.
Hearing you speak, it sounds like even the tourist industry or local communities have a lot to gain from a conference happening in the local community.
Yeah, I think that not only is it beneficial to the tourists, but it's also an opportunity for local, both Native Hawaiians and Pacific Islanders to really showcase their understanding, their cultural worldview, and what others can learn from that worldview as well. I think we had a keynote speaker, Dr. Mary Hattori, that really went into what the world can learn from South Pacific Island and Native Hawaiian people, beyond just it's a great place to visit and it's beautiful, that we have to learn a lot to learn about sustainability, about the kind of being at one with nature. These are are really high values that Native Hawaiians and Pacific Island people have that we can learn a lot from.
If any local organization would like to collaborate with IAFOR to hold this conference here in Hawaii, what would you tell them?
Yeah, that's an outstanding question. I think that we've reached out to various localities. We've had the navigators from the Hokulea attend, which is the ship that goes around all over, and they navigate by the stars, the clouds. So we've offered invitations to get more of that connection, but we'd also like others to reach out and just contact the IAFOR organization. You can email anyone that's in the organization to find out who the conference organizers are. I know even the CEO, Joseph Haldane, he'll read emails, he'll make connections. So it would be really great to have more local organizations become involved, because it's really an important aspect of IAFOR. And it's an opportunity to teach a lot of international, so we get visitors from over 30, 40 countries, and it's an outstanding opportunity to educate them, not just about the beauty of Hawaii, but the importance of the cultural history of Hawaii and the Pacific region. Yeah.
How would you attract people from other countries to come to an IAFOR conference in Hawaii specifically?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I mean, I think the beauty of Hawaii alone is a pretty strong attractor, and we get a lot of visitors that are first time to Hawaii, and one of the reasons why they come to the conference is because of that. But I think also making those connections and highlighting how understanding local cultural values and awareness can really help global systems and global understanding and global collaboration. And I think that's something that IAFOR doesn't just do in Hawaii, but in all of the localities. So, if you go to Southeast Asia, you can make connections with people in Southeast Asia, but also learn how a better understanding of that can make a better global understanding as well, or whether it's in Japan or whether it's in Europe or wherever it happens to be. I think that's emphasizing how important those connections, networking, and collaboration be for people's own personal goals, and especially if they're involved in some kind of research where that kind of collaboration will be. Because mainly, one of the strengths of IAFOR is obviously it's a research academic focus. So, networking and visiting and all of these things are great, but also for your own academic career, you can find ways to make a difference as well.
Speaking on the aspect of global, you were also a moderator for the forum at this conference, which was on global citizenship and the environment, which is a major, according to Dr. Hattori, it's the most pressing issue in Hawaii and the Pacific Islands.
Yeah.
How was the forum?
Yeah, the forum was outstanding. I expected there to be participation, but the level of participation was even beyond the expectations that I had. People really were willing to speak up and give their opinions about who should be responsible, how we can make people accountable, what the challenges are. We heard from people from the South Pacific, we heard people from Africa, we heard people from Asia. So we heard a lot of different perspectives about how climate change, sustainability, those kinds of issues really affect a lot of different people, and how it's a really global problem. And yet maybe there's a few organizations, institutions, nations that are the main causes of the kinds of things that we're suffering from. So how do we balance that with some action, and what kind of action should we take? So it was a really wonderful forum, and we had really outstanding participation. So, and I learned a lot about other countries and their kind of perspectives as well, especially some of the delegates from Africa that spoke up and had very unique perspectives about it.
I expect you to be on the committee for the next conference as well.
Absolutely.
What do you expect from the next conference?
That's a good question. I think building on what the connections we've had, one of the nice things, having done this for 10 years, overall the general trend is increased participation in this particular conference. It went from a very small conference to, I think, one of the larger conference that IAFOR offers and organizes. So hopefully we can leverage that to get more of the participation that we're looking for, especially, and I'm going to emphasize this again, on an academic level. Like, well, it's great to meet colleagues from over the world. It's also really outstanding to become involved in some of the projects that they're working on. And I'll put one more plug for the journals that IAFOR sponsors. We have a number of journals, so if people are listening to this and thinking about it, it's a great way to get your ideas, your research, what you are understanding out there, because we have really great readership, and the indexing and citation rate of the journals for IAFOR have been steadily growing over time. They're becoming more and more popular, not just within IAFOR, but as an academic journal.
You are actually the editor.
I am one of the editors, yeah, exactly.
Can you tell us about the journal that you're in?
Sure. The particular journal that I edit is the Educational Technology issue of the Journal of Education, and so it's very broad focused. We're not looking for anything in particular other than technology should be involved somehow in supporting education and promoting education and understanding education, and that could be very broad. We're not just talking about higher education, talking about K-12 education, we're talking about business and industry, we're talking about military, we're talking about community organizations, maybe non-government organizations, just learning in general about how technology can make a difference. Some of the issues that are particularly interesting and probably significant at the moment are obviously artificial intelligence, the utilization of social media in education spaces, but also in non-education spaces, and how that's both a positive and a challenge at the same time. And then I would also recommend that anyone that's submitting to any of our journals to remember that having a theoretic understanding of what you're looking at and a foundation for that is really important in an academic article. And one of the main reasons that we turn away even really good articles is because they haven't provided a theoretic foundation for whatever it is that they're looking at. So that's something that people should think about. And we have a lot of tips on the website about what to do, exactly what I'm talking about. So rather than explain it here, I just go to the website, look it up. There's some fantastic suggestions. If people just followed the tips, probably more of those things would get through. So, yeah.
Obviously, the Journal of Education is Scopus indexed,
Yes.
and the acceptance rate is quite low.
Yes, I think for ours it's in the 3%-ish range, but it's not only Scopus indexed. The Journal of Education is now Web of Science indexed as well. And as I mentioned, those indexes are growing. The citation index is growing. We're well above 60% at the time now, and for a journal that's only a few years old, that's really outstanding. So we've managed to do that in a very short amount of time.
So I guess the acceptance rate speaks for itself.
Yes,
regarding the
exactly.
quality.
Yes, regarding the quality. The journals that do make it through and get published are really, or the manuscripts, are very, very high quality, because we have a lot of systems for that. But then the other thing that people should really understand about IAFOR journals is that the turnaround is actually quite rapid. I've been involved in academic publishing for over 20 years, and I can tell you, even journals, the articles that I've had published, they can take 18 months, 24 months, sometimes more than 2 years. And in the IAFOR system, we usually keep things within 3 to 4 months, and that's really a very, very tight timeline. And a boon, because even if your article isn't one that's picked, you may get feedback and you'll have time to submit that to some other location rather than going through 18 months, 2 years, and ultimately it's not accepted, right? That can be a very challenging thing.
So you're involved in a number of things with IAFOR.
Yes.
Thank you so much for everything that you do.
You're
The
welcome.
conference, the journals, and soon you will be in Japan.
In
as well.
Japan on my sabbatical?
Yes.
Yes, exactly, yes. And I'll just add that one of the reasons why I become involved in IAFOR is obviously it serves my own purposes as well. So it's really helped me in terms of my academic connections, networking, getting my research out there, which is important to me. So while I do love to collaborate with IAFOR, it also brings something back to the individuals that collaborate. So that's why they should probably get involved.
Thank you so much.
You're
I hope you
welcome.
enjoyed the conference.
I do. Thank you.